You will have your divorce, gasps filled the hall. Even Hamdan stumbled back slightly, disbelief flashing in his eyes. His wife, however, remained composed. She knew she had won. Sheikh Mohammed wasn't done. His voice, now final and absolute, rang through the court, and from this day forward, Hamdan will no longer be my heir. A stunned silence followed. Hamdan's world shattered in that instant. His father's words struck harder than any punishment, any public shame. His wife turned to him, her eyes meeting his one last time. There was no satisfaction, no pity, just a quiet, unshaken resolve. Then, without another word, she walked out. The war was over, and Hamdan had lost. Hamdan stood frozen, his father's words echoing in his mind. No longer my heir. It felt like the ground beneath him had disappeared. The court was still silent, but he could feel the weight of countless stares, some filled with shock, others with quiet judgment. No one dared to speak, not when Sheikh Mohammed had made such a final decision. His wife had already disappeared beyond the grand doors of the palace, leaving nothing behind but the destruction of everything Hamdan had once taken for granted. His marriage. His reputation. His future. Hamdan finally turned to his father, his voice strained, desperate. Baba. You don't mean that. Sheikh Mohammed's gaze was like steel. You gave me no choice. Hamdan shook his head. You're stripping me of everything over one mistake. His father leaned forward slightly, his tone sharp. A mistake? He scoffed. A mistake is a misstep. A moment of weakness. What you did, Hamdan, was a series of betrayals. You did not just dishonor your wife, you dishonored this family. You gave your enemies a weapon against you, and worse, you gave your wife the power to take everything from you. Hamdan clenched his jaw. You don't know the full story, and I don't need to, Sheikh Mohammed interrupted. The world has already decided, Hamdan. And so have I. He straightened, his expression unreadable. From this day forward, you are no longer the crown prince of Dubai. A collective gasp swept through the court. Hamdan felt his chest tighten. Baba, no, but his father didn't waver. You will keep your title as a sheikh, but you will no longer be next in line. I will name a new heir soon. Hamdan took a step forward, desperation clear in his voice. You can't do this. Sheikh Mohammed's expression remained unchanged. I just did. And with that, he stood up, signaling that the discussion was over. The guards immediately moved to stand between Hamdan and the throne. Hamdan felt a cold wave of realization wash over him. This was real. This was happening. His father had cast him aside, his wife had walked away with her dignity intact, while he had lost everything, and the worst part, the entire world was watching. Hamdan stood there, his breath shallow, his mind racing. He had always believed that no matter what happened, his father would protect him. But now, stripped of his title, abandoned by the woman he had once called his wife, he felt like a man without a kingdom. The whispers in the court had turned into murmurs, spreading like wildfire. Some looked at him with pity, others with silent satisfaction. There were always those waiting for the fall of a prince. One of the ministers, an older man with years of loyalty to the family, finally stepped forward and bowed slightly before Sheikh Mohammed. Your Highness, if I may ask, what will become of Sheikh Hamdan now? Sheikh Mohammed's expression remained unreadable as he spoke. That is up to him. He turned his cold gaze to his son. I will not throw you out of this palace, but you are no longer above consequence. From this day forward, you will earn your place, if you still wish to be part of this family. Hamdan clenched his fists. And if I don't, his father didn't flinch. Then you are free to leave. A heavy silence followed. The weight of the choice crushed down on Hamdan. This was his home, his legacy. But to stay here under these conditions? To be treated as if he were nothing? He looked around, searching for even a single familiar face, someone who would stand beside him. But the reality was clear. No one would dare defy his father. Swallowing his pride, he finally spoke, his voice quiet but firm. I will prove myself. Sheikh Mohammed studied him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. Then start by cleaning up your mess, Hamdan frowned. What do you mean? His father's eyes darkened. Your scandal is still the talk of the Arab world. Fix it. Face the people. Answer for what you have done. And then, maybe, we will see if you deserve redemption, Hamdan exhaled sharply. And if I succeed, Sheikh Mohammed didn't smile. Then you will have taken your first step toward becoming a man worthy of this family. With that, he turned away, signaling that the conversation was over. Hamdan felt a storm brewing inside him. For the first time in his life, there was no crown to protect him. No title to shield him, it was just him, and now, he had to decide, would he let this world break him, or would he rise again, stronger than before? Hamdan stood there, his fists clenched at his sides, as his father turned away from him. The weight of the moment pressed down on him like a crushing force. He had lost everything, his wife, his title, his father's trust. But he wasn't ready to be forgotten. Taking a slow breath, he stepped forward, refusing to let himself be dismissed so easily. Baba, his voice was steady but laced with frustration, you're asking me to fix a mess that has already spiraled beyond my control. The media has already painted me as a villain. My wife, he hesitated, forcing himself to say the words, she made sure that I would have no way out of this. Sheikh Mohammed didn't turn around. His voice remained cold. Then find a way. If you are truly my son, if you believe you are worthy of anything more than disgrace, you will face the world instead of running from it. Hamdan took another step closer, his jaw tightening. And what if I do? What if I prove myself? Do I get my place back? Do I become your heir again? Finally, his father turned, his sharp gaze meeting Hamdan's. You still think this is about a throne? His voice was low but cutting. You still believe that you can charm your way back into my favor? The problem, Hamdan, is that you have never had to fight for anything in your life. You took your privileges for granted, believing they could never be taken from you. And now that they are, you are grasping at whatever is left. Hamdan's fingers curled into fists, anger and humiliation swirling inside him. I never thought I would be abandoned by my own family. Sheikh Mohammed stepped forward, his presence towering over his son. You were not abandoned, you abandoned yourself the moment you chose betrayal over duty. I gave you every opportunity to be a leader, to be a man worthy of respect. And instead, you became reckless, arrogant, and weak. Hamdan's breath hitched, but he refused to back down. I made a mistake. But that does not erase everything else I have done for this family, for this country. His father narrowed his eyes. Then prove it. Not to me, not to the court, but to the people who once looked up to you. If you can rebuild your reputation, if you can rise from the ashes of your own disgrace, then maybe, just maybe, I will reconsider my decision. Hamdan swallowed hard. He had no choice. He couldn't leave. He couldn't disappear into exile, letting the world write the final chapter of his story without him. Fine, he said, his voice resolute. I'll fix this. I'll fix everything. And when I do, you'll see that I am not weak. His father simply turned away again. We shall see. As Hamdan walked out of the court, the weight of the world on his shoulders.